Why you would ever think that it's okay to say those things to someone. This was probably the hardest season in my entire life. I had to ask the nurse how to hold Brielle when she was born because I had no idea how to hold a baby. It's time I'm letting you go. This time I know it for sure. Just thought I should let you know. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bethany if you are new here, and since there has been so many new subscribers here, which I'm super excited about, I just want to say welcome to you. If you don't know who I am a mother of 2 children. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old, and I do motherhood and lifestyle videos here on my channel, so welcome. If you guys haven't noticed, there's something a little bit different here about my setup. I am in my new filming studio. I am now finished decorating everything, and this is gonna be the new home for all my sit-down videos, so it's super cool. I'm super excited about it, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm just so excited. So I asked you guys on Instagram to ask me a bunch of questions about mama life, about motherhood, and this is actually gonna be a mom talk video. You know, hopefully you guys can get a little bit more of an idea of what I do, or just are looking for some advice on some things. I hope I can kind of be transparent with you guys and I can be helpful to you in your own motherhood or parenting journey. So I do have a very small sliver of time. I always say that, but it's so true. Both my kids are napping right now, which like never happens. Definitely using this time wisely to answer your questions as best and as quick as possible, because you never know when either of them are gonna wake up. So yeah, let's just get started. Okay, I didn't even read any of these before I'm gonna answer them. These answers are just honestly off the top of my head. I did not read these questions before I sat down for this video, so yeah, I'll do my best, you guys. So my first question is, what was your main reason for wanting to start a motherhood YouTube channel? And is it what you expected it would be? So if you guys don't know this about me, I started my YouTube channel about 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago, when I was pregnant with my daughter, Brielle. The reason why I started this channel was because I was a first-time mom and I didn't have any other moms in kind of my sphere of influence. The first on both sides of our family to have a baby, first grandchild on both sides, first out of all my friends to have a baby. I really didn't have babies around me even growing up, and so I didn't have a lot of information or people telling me information about babies and how to take care of them. So I basically went to YouTube for a lot of my information and a lot of insight that I could find on being a mom. I realized that there's a lot of people out there just like me. I honestly had to ask the nurse how to hold Brielle when she was born because I had no idea how to hold a baby. I wanted to create a place for people who are new moms or just looking for some more information about motherhood and what that looks like, because let's be real, guys, it's hard being a mom, and I wanted to kind of create a community that we can kind of support one another and just realize that you're not alone in those struggles and those feelings that you have, and that this is a safe place where people could come. It's just no judgment zone, really. Like, however you mother, however you parent is good for you. You know your baby's best, and I just wanted to kind of create that sense of not feeling alone in that, because that's how I felt. I felt alone, and so I wanted to kind of create that for other people who felt the same way. And if I expected it how it would be, I did not expect to grow as much as I have. I'm extremely, extremely thankful and extremely blessed for how my channel has grown and just the community that has grown because of it, and it's super cool. So I never expected it to get this big, but I'm super excited about it, and I'm excited for the future as well. What do you do when you feel yourself getting overwhelmed and reacting to problems? I do react to my children in a negative way. I am not a perfect person, and it definitely happens, unfortunately. And you know, that mom guilt definitely sets in, and I realize that I have to say sorry for things that I say, things that I do when I do get stressed out, because I do lose it sometimes. And you know what, let's be real, no one's perfect. I mean, I try to be as self-reflective as possible and just realize that like my kids don't need an over-emotional mom or a mom that isn't the calm within their storm. You know what I mean? And if I can't be that safe place emotionally for them because I'm really struggling, that's really hard. And so I have to keep myself in check. So in those moments where I lose it, I have to just like take a step back and be really self-reflective and just realize that it's not about me. Like, they're really not being fussy, or they're not crying usually because of me. And so they need me to be there for them. It's tough because I just have to be self-reflective again and just look at myself and be like, okay, like, did I handle that the best way? Probably not. I need to say sorry to my kids. And to be honest with you, I apologize to Brielle especially on a daily because she needs to know that mommy isn't perfect. And it's okay to say sorry, and it's good to say sorry. Honestly, taking a step back and even just stepping outside for just a minute and taking a few deep breaths and just realize that this really isn't about me, and it's about me serving my children. And I signed up for this, and it doesn't mean it's not gonna be hard. It doesn't mean there's not gonna be like really difficult moments being a mom, but I just have to realize, just take a deep breath. This season doesn't last forever. It's a temporary season, and when I'm feeling overwhelmed and stressed, try to realize that I'm gonna miss some of these days, even though they weren't always the easiest. So I guess that kind of answered the question too, how do you deal with motherhood on days when you feel down and depressed? And yeah, definitely can answer that with what I just said. Not every single day is gonna be easy, but it is a season, and those really hard times will pass, and you will end up sleeping through the night at some point, because that is a season, and your kids eventually do sleep through the night. I mean, it's taken a while, but it does happen. But depressed, I think as moms, we don't realize how common postpartum depression is, or just depression in general is. And it's okay to be like, hey, I'm struggling and I'm not doing okay. And I've had definitely down days, definitely moments where I feel really like just down, and it's normal, it's okay, and you need to reach out to someone that you care about, someone that you trust, to kind of give you the support you need. Because as a mom, we need to support one another, and you need people in your life to support you. Make sure that you have that in place, and so that you can talk to somebody about it, because it's really, really important. Okay, so how do you feel about sleep training? So I actually never trained, I never did sleep training with my daughter Brielle, and eventually she just started sleeping through the night on her own when she was 2. It was a long road because I never did that with her, and I reaped the consequences of that. I didn't get a full night's rest until she was about 2 years old. That's when she started sleeping through the night, if you can believe it. Dealt with the sleep deprivation for that long. I just put up with it because I tried, and it was just so hard on me. As a first-time mom, I really struggled with letting her cry out and things like that. If you don't feel comfortable doing that method, there's a lot of other ways that you can encourage good sleep with your babies. Right now, I'm actually in the process of sleep training Kellen, and it's been going really well. And if you guys are interested in knowing more about that or what I'm doing, I can do a dedicated video on that if you like. I can tell you, I have been really thankful that I did it so early with Kellen, because I am feeling like a new woman. Let's just be real. Ooh, this is always a good one. What weird comments have you gotten about your family in public, and how do you respond? If you guys haven't been following me, I did kind of address this when I was pregnant, and just how strangers say really weird things to you and feel like they're obligated to say things to you when you're pregnant or when you have children. It's really strange. Some people are really sweet and really nice, but then there's other people who are just really weird, and I really don't understand why you would ever think that it's okay to say those things to someone. Like, my gosh. I've had people say, oh, your hands are full, or, oh, were they planned? Like, I didn't know that my personal, like, life was, you know, your information to know. Anyways, usually what I do is I just kind of like smile and just walk away. I usually don't respond, but sometimes it is good to say, you know what? I love that my arms are full. My heart is also really full. Like, just being like really positive about it and be like, you know what? Like, I love my children. It's just weird that people, like, what kind of response are people like thinking they're gonna get from that? I'm not really too sure, but I usually just smile and walk away. Is there ever a perfect time to have children? No, there isn't a perfect time to have children. I think people think that they need to have this, this, and this in place to have kids. I think it's important to, you know, be responsible with that choice to start a family. You're never really ready to have kids. Like, you're never truly prepared for what it's like when you have a child. It's just like, you're just thrown into the ringer and you just have to like roll with the punches, basically. No, I don't think there's a perfect time, but I do think that there should be some things in place to give that child a good life. Tips for a 1-vehicle family. So if you don't know, guys, I don't have 2 vehicles. We only have 1 vehicle as a family, and we make it work as best as we can. If you guys don't know, my husband kind of works weird hours, but I have access to a vehicle in the mornings. And so in the mornings, I get done all of my errands, all my grocery shopping. If I want to hang out with a friend, it's always done in the morning time so that I can use the vehicle to its potential when I have it. And then when I am stuck at home, I just, don't have access to it. And so I get everything done when I have access to that. It's a sacrifice that we make. It does cost a lot less just to have one vehicle, and that's basically why we do it. Is because here car insurance is like so incredibly expensive. It's almost not even worth having another car, and gas is just ridiculous. So it would be so much more, and we just can't afford that right now. We just make it work. I don't know how else to put that. You just kind of compromise and make sacrifices. How do you deal with meltdowns in public? I have a 3-year-old. Meltdowns have happened at the grocery store. Usually what I do is, I talk to Brielle as calmly as possible. And if she's not responding, I just go on about what I'm doing. I acknowledge her, but if she is screaming and not, listening to me, I'm just gonna go about grocery shopping, because you know what? Kids cry, kids scream, it happens. Don't worry about everyone else looking at you. You know your kid the best. Even if they say something to you, you don't have to acknowledge them. Just continue on. When Kellen was first born, I had a lot of anxiety bringing him outside the home because he would scream and cry so much that even when I was outside the home, he would not let up. Like, he wouldn't fall asleep in his car seat. He would just scream and scream and scream. And, I had so many people tell me, oh, that little guy's not happy or blah, blah, blah. And I literally would just keep walking. I didn't even look at them. I was like, you know what? That's just not a really helpful thing to say to me right now. So I'm just gonna ignore you and go on about what I'm doing, because I know my kid the best. I know he's just tired. All his needs are met, and I'm just gonna, be here because I can't stop my life if one of my kids has a meltdown. So my advice to you is just continue what you're doing. Talk to them, acknowledge them, and if they don't calm down, just wait for them to kind of go through that emotional tunnel, and then just be there for them when they come through the end of it. Little kids have big emotions and little bodies, and sometimes you can't control your kids, and that's just reality. You can't. I'm pregnant with my first, and I'm so nervous. Were you scared to be a first-time mom? Absolutely. I was very nervous about being a first-time mom. I was very excited, but there was a lot of things that I didn't know anything about. Like I said earlier, I really didn't know anything about babies. And so I did a lot of research on my own. And I talked to a lot of people that I knew had babies so that I felt a lot more confident. Retain as much information about things that you're wondering about before you have your baby, so that when they do come, you feel confident to tackle those situations. But yes, I did feel nervous, and it's totally normal to feel that way, because having a baby is a big responsibility. It's intense, especially for mothers, because your life completely changes when you're pregnant and when you have your baby, and for the rest of your life. It's just a big life change. It's a huge thing, and so it's okay to feel that way. How do you discipline in a loving way? Okay, now there's a second question. How do you get back in shape postpartum? And I'm gonna address that after I answer the first question. As a parent, I am obligated to discipline my children. I want my children to grow up realizing that, life isn't all about them, and that we want to discipline them, like you said, in a loving way. And so we use timeouts often, and we have a lot of discussions, especially with Brielle. Like, Kellen, don't discipline him. He's a baby. It's too young. But for Brielle, she's 3, and so she has a lot of emotions, and she is very sassy and very headstrong and stubborn. And so we have a lot of talks, and I find that that's the best way that Brielle is receptive to discipline. We'll put her in a room for a timeout, and that works really well for her. I think with every kid it can be kind of different, but for her, timeouts really work well. And then talking about why she got a timeout after that, and just telling her that mommy did this because I love you, and I want you to be self-aware, and self-aware of how others are, and putting themselves in other people's shoes, and that our actions have consequences. But like I said, a lot of discussion, and I always tell her that I love her and that I care about her and I'm so proud of her, and that I give her a big hug after, and then we go about our day. That's just an example, but again, it's different for every family, and that's what we do. I don't know. Oh yeah, and then the second part of that question is, how do you get back into shape postpartum? So I do appreciate your question, and for me, I am a naturally slender person. I have a very high metabolism, and so for me, breastfeeding is one of the biggest ways that I lose a lot of weight after having a baby. I am kind of irritated with this expectation on women after having children to drop the baby weight, because you just created a human life inside your body. You do not need to have these expectations to get back into shape or lose the baby weight. Your body did an amazing thing, and you need to be proud of that body, because it is absolutely just amazing. Because you know what? You had a baby girl, give yourself some grace. You did an amazing thing. You know what? My body isn't the same as it was before I had children. It is different, and it will be different for the rest of my life, and that's okay, because I'm proud of this body. I'm proud for what it has done. And you know what? I can't really put that expectation on myself for things to go back to the way they were before, because they won't. So my advice to all of you who are feeling insecure about your stretch marks or the way your body looks is like, just own it, because you are amazing. You created life inside your body. That's absolutely just so cool. So be confident, you're beautiful, and you don't need everyone telling you to lose the baby weight, because it's garbage. What do you do when both kids are crying? Okay, so if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, I literally just posted about this like last night. Sometimes both my kids are crying at the same time. And so what I do to kind of deal with this, it can be kind of overwhelming at the time, but I kind of go through my mind. I'm like, okay, what is the greatest need at this point? Is, you know, Brielle crying because she fell and she hurt herself, or is Kellen crying because he's just tired or he's just hungry? What is the biggest need at this point? So for me, if Brielle has fallen and she's hurt, I will tend to her first. If Kellen is in a safe place, if he's just crying because he's tired, he can wait. He can wait. I can put him down to bed in like 2 minutes, but I'm gonna tend to Brielle because she's hurt. Who needs me the most right now? That's what I'll go to tend to first, and then I will come to the other crying baby and deal with them second. So that's kind of what I do, is just kind of go through that. Who needs me the most at the time? Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of self-care questions on here. Best unwinding ideas for mamas. Do you ever get any mommy time to go do your nails or hair, etc.? Do you ever feel like sad and you need to take a break? So I'm gonna kind of clump this all into one. I definitely think that self-care is definitely important, especially as a mom. You are giving yourself 24/7 to these little humans, and it can be very intense. And so sometimes you do just need to take a break, go get your nails done, go get your hair done. But for me, my main focus is to serve my children, to serve my family. And you know, I do need to take care of myself in the middle of that. Whether self-care just looks like, you know, you driving to Starbucks by yourself and getting yourself a drink, or going to the gym, or, you know, doing your nails, you know, when the kids are sleeping, or reading a good book when, you know, you have a minute of quiet time. Those things are really important. But again, self-care does look different for everybody, so find what really works best for you. Do I ever feel sad and need to take a break? Of course I feel sad sometimes. I am not a robot. I am not happy all the time. I definitely have moments where I'm overwhelmed and I feel like being a mom is too much, and sometimes it is. Like, I'm gonna be real, it's hard, guys. It's really hard, and you're not alone in that, because we all feel that way sometimes. And I think social media can definitely paint a picture of it being so perfect and amazing all the time, and it's just not. Let's just be real. I think too, like, when I'm feeling that way, I just remember what I'm thankful for, and just realize that my children are absolutely beautiful and they're blessings from God. Whether it's hard or a sad moment, to just be thankful is huge, and it can really change my day or my mood around. I always get this question every time. It's, how many kids do you want? And then the last question will be, was it hard transitioning from 1 to 2 children? So yes, I am wanting to have more kids. I'm not too sure about 4, but I am sure about 3. So in the future, we will hopefully have another baby. Lord willing, but right now I'm just okay with 2. I'm in no rush to have another, but I know in the future that we want 1 more. My husband wants 4, and I'm like, I don't know about that, so we'll have to see. And then the last question was it hard to transition from 1 kid to 2? And I'm gonna be real with you guys, this was probably the hardest season in my entire life for me. And especially with Kellen. Kellen was such a hard baby. He was so colicky, reflex, wouldn't sleep. Like, it was just so difficult, you guys. You know, I didn't have a lot of help during that time. My husband went back to work 3 days after I had Kellen. I had a very, intense laboring and delivery story. If you want to know more about it, you can go to my birth story video or my birth vlog. But it was very intense and I was absolutely exhausted. I had a second C-section and I was in a lot of pain. It was very difficult at the beginning. And about 2.5 months into Kellen's life, that's when things really started to turn. But it was really difficult for me. Had anxiety about going out of the house because I didn't know how to deal with 2 kids instead of just 1. Because with Brielle, it was easy. I knew her. But with Kellen, I didn't know him, and it took time for me to get to know who he is and stuff like that. So I find when babies are around 3 months, that's when I feel confident in this new season of life. 3 months has been kind of that turning point for me after having both of my babies, and especially in their behavior. Not as fussy, not crying as much. That's just me personally, but I feel a lot more confident in my mothering skills at that point. I feel like now we found our new normal. I know what both my kids need. Of course, there's moments where it's like, yeah, they're both crying at the same time, or they both need me, and that's hard because I feel like I don't have enough hands to do everything. And I don't want to scare anybody either, but just knowing that you need to surround yourself with people who can help you, and it's okay to ask for help. That is so hard for me to ask for help, but you need to do it. You need to take care of yourself, because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your babies as best as you can. So ask someone to come over so you can nap, or just shower or whatever, because it is very intense and you kind of feel like you're just surviving throughout your day. But it does get better. It is just a season, and you will find your new normal with things. So that's where I'm going to end today's video, guys. It was kind of long, so I hope you did enjoy it. Just trying to be transparent with you guys and just letting you know that motherhood is hard, it's real, it's messy, but it's also super beautiful. And I really, again, hope you enjoyed this video. If you like videos like this, make sure you do subscribe, because I'm hoping to do more mom talk videos in the future. It's super fun for me. And yeah, we'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.